It's not luck. Not luck. It's not luck. Is not luck. It's not luck. It's not luck. It's not luck. It's not luck. Running a multi-million-dollar portfolio is not luck. It's calculated. And you can do it too, to achieve financial freedom. The concept of financial freedom really changed my life when it became like a tangible thing to me. If you take all of your expenses that you have currently, your housing, your food, entertainment, car, all of those things, and add them together, whatever number that equals is the amount of passive income you need to achieve in order to travel anywhere that you want. So you can come explore Amsterdam, you can explore Prague, you can go anywhere that you want on the money that your tenants are paying you to cover all of your local expenses. So just make sure, in order to achieve financial freedom, the only thing you need to do is add an additional duplex or a single family home, and through all of that, you collect the money and then use that to pay for your expenses so that you no longer have to trade your time for that money. For me, yes, I want to fly my parents on a private jet to Warsaw, but then I want my kids to be able to experience this moment and this feeling throughout the rest of their life too. Every year, my tenants pay for my wife and I to explore the world. And this month, we're in Europe. Just got to Amsterdam, so checking in with the team, and also have to send a lease out because I had a tour last weekend and one of the groups won a lease. So gonna actually send out a $2,300 lease, which is awesome. Collecting first, last, and security deposit as well. So nice 7K coming in the next few days. Always cool, especially while traveling. So gonna get that lease sent out, check in with my media team to make sure our reels and videos are scheduled for the week and all looks good, and then headed out into the city. Should be fun, should be a good week. And now that we have the lease fully created, I use my template. I always pretty much use the same template for the lease, but after we have it created, TurboTenant made this amazing lease audit tool that instantly uses AI, and it's trained specifically on state-by-state leases. So all you have to do is choose the state that your lease is for, and then drag and drop your new lease that you just created into the TurboTenant window, and it will automatically scan the document for you, giving you a full audit. Provide your email address so that they can send you the audit report, but it'll also be live too. And you can see, okay, my lease could use some work, which I've changed it so many times and added things over the years, so it's cool that it can pick up exactly, okay, my rent amount is $2,300. My start date and end date are set. Parking information, insurance. I specifically didn't specify utilities just to see if it picked up on that, and it did. It likes my late fee clauses, it likes my security deposit clauses. However, it wants me to add some fair housing information, some disclosures, which are really important for if you ever need to evict a tenant. You 100% need your disclosures perfect. You need to have the lead, the mold, the mildew, the bank of the security deposits so that you can keep the interest if you're allowed to in your state. So this is great. I highly recommend throwing all of your leases through the TurboTenant lease audit tool. It's uses AI, it knows the exact state that you're looking for, and it's completely free, and it takes less than 15 seconds. And you could save yourself thousands and thousands of dollars in court fees just by adding some of the things that their AI will suggest. So I'm gonna go ahead, update that, and then send it out for signatures. It's just truly impossible to beat somebody who shows up every single day. Like, it's not luck. If you want something, and whether it's building your portfolio or it's building your relationship with mentorship clients or mentees, when you show up every single day, it's not luck. You can't be beaten. Today, just getting up early, ready to head out into the city of Amsterdam. Gonna go through some big tours, the Anne Frank house, seeing the different museums, seeing the Van Gogh, walking through the different canals, exploring the different city parts, restaurants. But before I do, it's always most important to check in with my team for the day and make sure that all client things that need to be fulfilled are done. So down here at the restaurant lobby, just in the morning to make sure I get my coffee in, make sure everything's going well. An accepted offer, and now I'm trying to find a cafe to get some Wi-Fi so that I can call my mentee and tell them that their offer got accepted on their property. So we found this cool cafe called The Vessel. So going to get a coffee, a seat, and call them to let them know that their offer got accepted. Okay, so I have really good news. Guess what? They accepted the offer. Okay, so the next 3 things that we have to do. First, you'll order the inspection. And then after we get the inspection date, we'll go to it and make sure that the inspector checks everything that we need them to. And then we'll look at the full report that they give to us as well. After that, we'll make sure that we choose our lender, and then we will have the lender order the appraisal to make sure that the value of the property from a third-party person also agrees with the value that we decided that it would be. So after those 3 steps, we should be set to move to closing, but let me know when you go ahead and get the inspection ordered so that we can review that together. So my favorite month is always June, because the net operating income of my business increases every June, because that's when the most tenants turn over. So a lot of people fear tenant turnover. However, as long as you're doing your job and staying on top of things and have the right systems and processes in place so that things are automated for your tenants and that you're always in touch with them, they'll want to stay. So every June within your lease as well, have an automatic rent increase clause. This way you don't have to have an awkward conversation with them. The rent automatically goes up, so your net operating income also increases. And if they decide to leave, that's completely fine too, because you'll just find a new tenant at the new market rent. So every June, your business should be increasing in net operating income, whether it's from existing tenants renewing and you having an automatic increase in there, or brand new tenants, or from referrals from your existing tenants. So embrace the June movement and always have the increase so that your business does better, you make more money, and you get to travel even more places with their money. The one thing I always try to emphasize to my clients is to choose the best area. Don't really worry about cash flow right now, because sure, extra cash flow is amazing and having an extra $200 or $300 a month would be phenomenal. Just remember that rents are at the lowest they will ever be. So I always emphasize to my clients that sure, cash flow is important, but an extra $200 or $300 right now is not going to change your life. So the most important thing is actually picking a location that will always appreciate. So if you choose location, 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 you're really gonna maximize the amount of money that you put in. And over time, rents will grow and increase in that area as well. So the most important thing to focus on is an area that will grow. And as rents keep increasing themselves, you will eventually build that cash flow in the location that's perfect as well. Rather than picking the perfect cash flow right now in a location that's not going to increase, you're never going to get the best of both worlds. So choose the location first and allow your cash flow to grow over time as rents increase every year. Hello? Yes, so as long as we have that it's a duplex, a triplex, or a quadruplex, I think that's perfect. We should go ahead and get it into testing. The real thing that I want is that anybody can go ahead and type in the city and the zip code that they're looking in, choose multifamily, and be given the top 3 to 5 best options. So as long as we can see the market rent and the cash flow and all the estimates are coming in correctly, let's give them the option to click through the pictures so that they can see that the property is turnkey. And then we will show them the top 3 to 5 recommendations of the way that they'll make the most money in that specific zip code. So it sounds like we have all of that ready to go. Let's go ahead and push it, and I'll test it later. I almost fell way too many times, so put my Osmo down for the rest of the day. Later on in the trip though, this weekend, we went to the windmill farm where they make wooden shoes for the area. And everybody that lives around there uses these wooden shoes. They do not look very comfy at all, but everybody claims that they're waterproof, they're heat proof, they stay cool in the summer, and then in the winter, they stay warm for the farmers that are working near the windmills or within any of the animals for the local area. So we watched how they were created and then ultimately got to try some on, which were pretty scary. They were a little comfortable, but I don't think my arch could get used to the wood jamming up against the arch, especially if trying to play sports or anything like that. Later on in the day, we went to a cheese making festival where they show us exactly how Amsterdam cheese is made. They make millions and millions of gallons of cheese per day. And afterwards we were able to try a bunch of the different samples. There was cheddar, obviously. Then there are kind of cool things. There's pesto cheese, red pesto cheese, cow cheese. There's all types of flavors of garlic that you can want. So we sampled the cheeses for the rest of the day, and then it was time to head out. Jumped on the plane to head to Dubrovnik, got ready to take off, and then when I got the first class towel, the hot towel was so hot it burned my hands. But after that, jumped into reviewing some videos from my editing team just to make sure we had reels to post for the rest of the time I was away. I do have the best editor and media team in all of real estate social media. So reels look perfect, and back to just enjoying the beautiful view. Next stop is the beautiful city of Dubrovnik. When you're away for a few months at a time, one of the things my wife and I like to do is alternate between a city and then a coastal city, so we get the best of both worlds and hop back and forth between the two. It's really cool because I just made it to Old Town Dubrovnik, and the view here is absolutely beautiful. And that's the thing with real estate, you get paid no matter where you go. And I think we are 6 days away from July 1st now, but no matter where I am in the world, I'm still going to receive the same paycheck that I would on the 1st of every single month. So here in Dubrovnik, about 6 days away from getting a $30,000 deposit into my bank account just for my tenants. And I haven't even talked to my tenants this month yet. I haven't talked to them about maintenance requests. I haven't talked to them about anything going wrong. I haven't had to sign any new tenants. So the cool thing is that no matter where I am, no matter the communication that I have, whether they need something or not, I'm still getting the same amount of money deposited into my bank account every single time. So it's funny to me because people will say they don't want to pay for a mentorship. And to me, buying a mentor is the smartest thing you can possibly do. You're essentially buying somebody's experiences over the past 7, 8, 10 years, and they're giving you everything in a 6-week or an 8-week mentorship, rather than you having to learn through negative experiences or headaches or really hard times and challenges. You can instead just pay an expert, somebody who's absolutely amazing at what they do. You pay them, and they'll do it for you, rather than you having to waste 2, 5, 10 years trying to do it all by yourself. One thing that many people get nervous about right now in buying real estate, thinking that it's potentially at an all-time high, that couldn't be further from the truth. When interest rates are up, the property prices automatically cannot appreciate or cannot go up to a certain level. So instead, when interest rates come down, the properties will inversely rise even further. So for right now, if you're not receiving rent money and the rent is not covering the mortgage, as soon as the interest rates come down, what you want to do is refinance so that your monthly payment lowers and then your cash flow will actually increase. One of the biggest things that people get scared about right now is not enough cash flow in their property. And what I want to remind you is that rents are at the lowest that they'll ever be right now. So if you find a property that's cash flowing $500 or $600 a month and you don't think that that's enough, just remember that currently rents are at the lowest that they'll be. They're going to increase every year just as your property appreciates. Rent also goes up because people make more money, inflation happens. So if you're collecting $2,500 a month right now, in a year or two, you'll be up to $2,700 and then $2,900 and then $3,000. And so as your rent increases, so will your cash flow every single year. So sure, this first year, it might be at about $500, $600 a month, but it is the lowest that you'll ever receive, and you'll only receive more and more every single year. So we found this really cool farmer's market in Old Town Dubrovnik. We're just looking around at maybe something we want to try or buy for today. I think that the apples and peaches actually look really good, but the city itself is amazing, and just having a little market out here outside throughout the day to be able to stop in and get some fruit or veggies is a really cool thing. But I think I actually want to try one of the peaches. They look really good. Is it okay to try it? Good? Okay. You see the juice come out of there. It's so good. Amazing. So for anyone who saw Game of Thrones, this is the Walk of Shame in Dubrovnik. I'm gonna keep my clothes on for the sake of this video and YouTube, but this is the actual steps that she was walking down. So if you're familiar with Game of Thrones and you were wondering where it's happened, it's in the beautiful city of Dubrovnik. I just want to emphasize that owning and operating a multi-million-dollar portfolio is 100% not luck. And when you do it correctly and take the steps in the logical direction that it happens, it's very systematical, and things should be systemized, and you should be able to follow an exact process. And when you do that and you do things that are repeatable over and over again, you get to travel the world while your tenants pay for it for you and get to see amazing things like this in Dubrovnik, where the scenes are absolutely beautiful, the water is amazing, and all of the landscape's just absolutely incredible. It's crazy how clear the water is. Like, you can literally see the fish. And this view in the background is also crazy. And for most people, this is so achievable. Everybody thinks that getting into real estate, you need like a ton of money or need to be wealthy already, and that's just not true. The younger that you start, the easier that it is for you. And after you start getting a property or two and you start getting cash flow, you really don't need that much money to break away from your expenses and get to travel like this. Really, as long as you're covering your expenses with your monthly net cash flow, then there's nothing for you to worry about anymore. So if you pay $500 in rent and $500 on your car, you need one property that's cash flowing $1,000 a month, and that covers everything for you. Then anything additional to that, you're able to travel anywhere you want and use that money to explore. So as soon as you get a duplex or a triplex or 1 or 2 properties, you can start adding them together and seeing how much money you actually need to achieve to be able to just travel the world and not worry about anything else anymore. The fact that we can see the fish through the water in like 10, 15 feet down is just absolutely crazy to me. No pollution or no discoloration at all. Everything is just crystal clear and so blue, no matter how deep it is. It's incredible. And some people will not understand that this is actually achievable for anybody to travel on, even if you just have a few rental properties. And I always like to think about it as you want to cover all of your natural expenses with your rental properties. But then after that, anything additional that you make from your monthly rent, you get to do whatever you want with it. So traveling to Dubrovnik, if you just make $500 to $1,000 extra in monthly cash flow, for 3 to 4 months, you can book a ticket, have the most amazing hotel to stay in, come down and explore Old Town Dubrovnik, and then even take a tour on one of these beautiful seas. And it really doesn't take that much. It's just a few months of planning and strategizing on what houses you actually want to purchase. And when you systemize those things, it makes it really easy to find the right property, and how most just fell in. Makes it really easy to find the right property and get the best experiences and make sure that your cash flow is actually covering your expenses. And then after that, the rest of the money is for traveling the world. It really is so cool to just walk around with the sunrise and the water here. Exploring new cities is always amazing, especially when you get to get out in the morning early before many people are up and at it yet, and just getting to walk around and see what everything is. Stopping at local coffee shops or getting breakfast. I get asked many times like what my actual goal is with real estate, and it is this. Like if I could explain my goal in a picture paints 1,000 words, this is 100% my goal. And being able to have my family travel wherever we want, whenever we want, and my future children to be able to explore the world and see all the different places in the world is 100% my goal. I do have one tangible one, and it is to fly my parents on a private flight and a private plane to Warsaw. My family was originally from Poland, and for us to be able to get to Warsaw would be an absolutely incredible dream. But I don't just want to get there, and I don't just want to fly them economy or business class or first class. I want to take my entire family on a private jet to Warsaw. So that's like my tangible goal that I actually feel in my heart and that I want to achieve in the next year or two. But beyond that, when I do start my family and start having children, I really want them to, again, experience just this, what I'm seeing, in all over the world. I want them to get to every continent. I want them to see tons of countries, because when I look and feel this is what I actually see is life. I think that life is being able to see and explore these type of things. The thing we're all doing here is not called work. We all have one life. And so when I think of actually living and experiencing that life, this is what I see as life. So don't drain yourself in work. It really can be just the concept of either starting a business or creating a passive income stream. And when you get to that stage and you get to have the life like this, that truly is the definition of living. And so for me, yes, I want to fly my parents on a private jet to Warsaw, but then I want my kids to be able to experience this moment and this feeling throughout the rest of their life too. The buildings are all so cool. It's like nothing. I like when there's no two things the same. Everything's just like so uniquely designed and then filled in. And the structures are all so cool. Built hundreds and hundreds of years ago and they still just stay perfect too. It's a crazy message to say to the kids that are, they're playing, enjoying life. It is true and definitely something to remember. Like we all only have a certain amount of time in life. So making sure you spend your time, and whether it's your working hours or your traveling hours, and setting that mission for yourself and then trying to achieve that mission, because it really is a finite amount of time that we're all here. It is crazy to me that you can just drink the water here, because obviously in the US you cannot just drink water coming from a street, but let's get it's actually really good. There's no taste or flavor at all. It just seems like purified water, which is really cool that they give this out in the street all the time. Just as clear as the ocean. No difference between the sea, not the ocean, no difference between the Adriatic Sea and the water that you can drink here. Extremely clear and refreshing. We actually just got an inspection report back last night, so we're trying to find a coffee shop, and then after we get inside of there, I'll be able to open up my laptop and go through the inspection report for my client. I always work on my Mac, but something that I've learned over time and over all the travel is that you actually need 2 pairs of headphones. So for me, anytime that I go anywhere, I go with 2 noise canceling headphones. One is just my regular Apple AirPods, which I put on noise canceling mode. And then after I have those on, I also throw on my Bose headphones in noise canceling mode as well, because for me, I get distracted extremely easy, and when I want to get into deep work or anything like that, I need a very quiet area to do it. So I will put my Apple headphones and then my Bose headphones on. Anytime that I go anywhere to do any type of work or anything, for clients or even just for myself, because I need it to be quiet. And so the double noise canceling really helps me to be able to achieve that. And so we are going to review an inspection report for one of my recent clients who's closing on their property in mid-July. We're going to look at their inspection report, make sure that everything looks good, and if anything doesn't look good or there's anything that we think should be negotiated for, we'll make sure that we get the negotiation done in terms of seller's assist or seller concessions, because we don't want to negotiate the purchase price, because if we just negotiate the purchase price, then that will lower their monthly payment maybe by like $10 or $15 if we get $5,000 or $7,000 off the purchase price. But instead, we're going to negotiate for seller's assist, which means that the seller will actually cover some of the closing costs. So instead of having $15,000 out of pocket, if we get $5,000 or $7,000 seller's assist or seller's concessions, that means you'll actually only even need to bring $10,000 or $8,000 cash, and it will cut your amount of out of cash payment in half just by negotiating for seller's assist instead, because the seller covers some of those closing costs for you. We'll review every page of this and then make our submission back to the seller based on what we want them to repair for us.
Where are you at? You look like you're on some seaside resort.
I'm in Croatia.
Okay, I want to go forward with Sean, but the problem is going to be the seller.
Right.
If he wants me to maintain a strict contractual deadline for this situation,
Right.
I'm not sure I can do that.
Yep.
If we show him the contract and that the money is forthcoming, maybe he will be a little bit unconventional and still want to go through with the deal. I don't know.
Right.
That would have to be something you negotiate.
Yeah, and so I've done something like this before where even if they don't want to, so at the end of the day, we're the offer they have right now. So them wanting to step completely away from us is almost crazy on their side. So we would offer them to extend closing until, let's say, August 31st or something where we think we have plenty of time. And then we tell them, look, if the money clears before that, if the 10% clears before that and everything's looking good and we have the funds ready to go, we'll let them know that we can do it sooner. But we also give them the ability to market the property too if they deny it originally. But we're going to instead sell the property. And then that will be a change in terms addendum that will say, okay, now we're contingent on selling the property instead of getting the equity loan. So that's the first shift. Then after that, we'll extend closing date to the end of August, let's say, or mid-August, whatever we think we need. And then if they say no to that flat out, like, look, we don't want to keep doing that, we tell them, okay, well, we'll stay under contract, contingent on the sale of your property closing, but they're able to market the property again as well. So that means that if they get a better offer and a higher offer than ours, they can take it if they want to. But if they don't, we're still under contract and continuing on the obligations that we set forth. So it's kind of like a give and take from both sides then, because we're giving a little like, okay, look, we understand we're taking a while. You guys can go market again if you want to, but also they're understanding that we're trying the best that we can, so we're staying under contract and the first right of refusal to anything moving forward.
Okay. All right. Well, that sounds great.
Okay.
As long as they agree to that, I can agree to that.
Okay.
Okay. Well, let's do that. Have we heard any word from the insurance?
Yeah, that's interesting that they had that cyber attack and we still don't have anything back from them. We
gotta really push that.
Yeah, that's not going to be something that is a challenge. I mean, if we need to alter to a different insurance companies can get us a quote in a day. So if we need to use Allstate or like one of the local major insurances just for a quote, and then we can compare it to Meg's, we can definitely do that. But we should follow up with Meg today again and just say, look, have you got anything from Erie yet? Oh, assessment 577, is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so that means that city has looked at the property already without going inside and assessed the value of it, and they assessed the value at 577. So that doesn't mean that our appraisal has to come back at that. That just means that when they look at the property and the value of the land and the value of the building that's there, they see it as 577. And so sometimes this gets lagged and they'll do it like every 5 or 10 years and update it. So sometimes you'll find ones that are 400 when the property is really 555. And sometimes it happened this year and it's actually more than what we're even offering on the property. Awesome. All right, and then I'll start managing seller communications as soon as we have that appraisal ordered, because that's going to give them peace of mind. So we should have a better understanding by the end of the day tonight after the disclosures and appraisals are ordered.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Jay. Enjoy your cafe.
Thank you. Take
See
care.
ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Spent the rest of the days in Dubrovnik just relaxing by the beach, taking a few swims, and then now headed to Prague. So back to an inner city location to explore the history and the different things that Prague has to offer. As we walk around the beautiful city of Prague, one quote that just keeps coming back to my mind over and over again is that time is the only currency we spend without knowing how much balance you have left. So stop waiting to take action and just jump in, because you never know when your time is going to run out. One thing that I've also learned about Prague and being here is that running your business in Prague is also an amazing location, because it's perfect between Eastern and Western Europe, and also with the high quality of life that you get from living here and the low cost of living. That combination brings you a lot of clients, but it also lets you enjoy your life as what we all want as business owners. So we didn't start a business to have another job. We started a business to get time and freedom and be able to do the things that we want to do. And Prague is one of the perfect locations in Central Europe for you to take advantage of that. as we just keep exploring around, something that comes to my mind is that it's sad when people tell me that they want to wait 6 months, or they'll start on Monday, or they'll start on the 1st of the next month, and that time actually never comes. They always want to kick the can down the road, and they want to think about it. They think life's going to get easier as the time goes on. They think they'll have more money to start. They think they'll have more time to start, but really, you just get caught up in the cycles of life, and you do what your boss wants you to do, you do your family requirements, and really, every now and then, it just takes one person in your family that's going to commit to actually making the change. So rather than saying you'll do it in 6 months, or rather than saying you'll kick the can down the road, you need to just decide and start. And if you don't know how to start, there are people that want to help you. You just need to make the decision to do so and stop trying to kick it down the road, because that time is actually never going to come. Life is never going to get easier for you. So you just need to make the decision and do it now. It's impossible to save your way to actually being rich. So even if you had the ability to make $500 extra income every month that you traded your time for, after taxes, you'd get about $350 of those dollars. But let's say that taxes didn't even exist and that you saved $500 a month for 30 years. That's $180,000. And sure, that sounds great, but $180,000 is not enough to give you the retirement life that you'd likely want. So instead, in order to make that $180,000, you could do it in 7 years if you just buy one rental property. So one rental property for $500,000 will give you on average 5.4% return of appreciation year over year. So in just 7 years, you'll have $25,000 a year times 7 years would give you $175,000. So rather than having to wait 30 years and save $500 diligently every month, just buy a rental property and you don't have to do anything else, and you'll make $25,000 a year in appreciation without even having to struggle to save anything. In any business or any job or anything that you own or do, you're either the hammer or you're the nail. So you can be the one that is being used and the one that gets told what to do, like the nail, and you don't have any decisions in what you're doing or how the business is functioning or actually benefiting from what the business does. Or you can be the hammer and be the owner of the business and be the one that makes decisions and the one that genuinely wins when the business wins. So instead of wasting all of your time for some other business owner or some CEO at your 9-to-5 job, just start your own business, and this way you can actually be the person making decisions and the one that's actually rewarded when things go really well. It's funny, like when I originally started investing, I played soccer at my university and I lived in what was called the soccer house. So like with a bunch of soccer guys, and like my team all lived together. And when I graduated, I asked my dad, like, why didn't you just buy the property and then rent it out to me and my friends? And you would have made money, I would have went for free. And he like kind of laughed at me and he's like, well, why don't you go do it now? So I'm like, okay, I will. So then I started learning like then about real estate, and really it's like taking a slight risk to jump into something that you don't know or don't fully understand. But as soon as you're willing to like take that jump into it, I just decided, okay, like you can never fully understand something before actually going through it unless you really know somebody like close and they'll explain to you how to do it. So really it's like taking that first step and first leap. So I created my LLC and then I started touring properties and I learned how to do the property analysis. And then it was really that moment though that my dad kind of like laughed and said, just do it yourself then. So I did, and then I bought my first one and then actually started renting it to the soccer guys and the different teams like at the university. And so then that was like the first one, but then that one became like another one a year later, and then I just saved up the cash flow and wouldn't like use any of that money or put it into my bank really. I just kept saving it, and then when that was enough for another down payment, then I took that money and bought a second one, and then it became like the field hockey girls, and then did it for a third one for the lacrosse team. And so like it kind of just kept going like that with student rentals in the beginning. And then after that, like switched to the multifamily properties, and then now kind of keep going with the multifamily properties, just having like multiple incomes in one building pay for one mortgage and one insurance and one property tax is like my new strategy. But it definitely started with that idea of student rentals and was just a lower barrier of entry to get into. Good morning, handsome. We just heard back from the seller's attorney. They said that they're willing to do the additional $7,500 seller's assist. So that actually puts us up to $17.5 thousand seller's assist now, which is cool because that should fully cover your closing costs, or at least relatively close. I think closing costs were what, $19,000. So that'll only be like $1.5 thousand that you need to bring to settlement. Outside of that, it's just the down payment. So I think we decided to put down 5%. So it's just the 5% down, and you won't have to worry about any of the other closing costs or any of those fees or anything that we originally had. So yeah, 17.5 thousand seller's assist, which is their concession, obviously going right to your down payment and the cash to close out of your pocket. So it's way better than applying it to the loan, obviously, which we could decide to do, but I highly recommend just keeping it to cover the closing costs so that you don't need to worry about those. I will send it over on DocuSign in a little bit. I'm about to head into a cafe for breakfast here in Prague, but then I will send it over to you. Cool. Walking around the streets of Prague and seeing the traditional style buildings and all the cool pastel colors in the historic district makes you really wonder, like, is it better to buy a new construction property, or is it better to buy maybe somewhere that is being renovated? And the idea around here is that almost all the area cannot be new construction anymore because it's utilized and there's really nowhere else to build. So in those areas, no matter what city you're in, it's great to take advantage of the newly renovated buildings. And so with the historic and the traditional features, you're not going to be able to change too much, but when you do find an area that lets you renovate, the best way to make money is to utilize one of those locations that really can't have anything else new built there. That way, when you renovate in the area, you are the newest and most modern in the beautiful historic district, and that's going to make you the most money over time. So we found this really cool neo-Gothic architecture church. And one thing that I just want to emphasize is to don't leave your life to chance. I really get annoyed when people tell me or I hear that I'm lucky. Like, this is not luck. It's very calculated. I am not leaving my family's chance to luck. I am not leaving my future children's life to luck. I'm not leaving my life to luck. Everything that happened to me is a very calculated decision that I decided to do. So nothing in your life should be left to chance. If there is a path that you can take in order to achieve what you want to do, you should go ahead and tackle that. Nothing of this is luck. Running a multi-million-dollar portfolio is not luck. Everything that I've done is not being lucky. Of course, I was given the chance to do it, and the knowledge that I have and the amount of education that I went through, and I'm extremely thankful for that. But running the portfolio is not luck, and everything that happened after that to make the decisions that I did is 100% not luck. So take the advantage when you have it and jump into the decisions of your life to make sure that your children and your future family is not left to luck or chance.